What is generally accepted is that the founders of the first civilization are the Sumerians. Unfortunately, there is no definite agreed upon date of the Sumerian civilization. However, I once took an online course called The Bible in Light of the Ancient Near East that Dr. Nili Samit of Bar Ilan University gave. According to them, I wrote down the date from that class of the possible Sumerian civilization, which was around 3200 BC. I've read so many different dates, but I'm only going with this date because it's what I've learned from a course I've taken. I understand it's just an estimation. No matter what one believes, there is no doubt that the Sumerians once shared their traditional stories orally and then later recorded them on cuneiform tablets. There are original cuneiform tablets and then there are interpretations from those originals. And many people believe that the original text come from the Sumerians, even though, according to the history teacher, the most widely recognized journal in the United States shared that those who would argue for the Sumerians being the first people in Southern Mesopotamia cannot turn to linguistic evidence for help. One very obvious point that the philologists advance is that the names of Sumer's most important cities, Uruk, Kish, Uruk, Eridu, Shurrupak, are non-Sumerian, as are the Sumerian words for Tigris and Euphrates. My curiosity for learning the origins of the Sumerians started when I read the book by Samuel Noah Kramer, The Sumerians, Their History, Culture, and Character. He wrote, and I quote, "It was found to be in part a prehistoric mound containing evidence of the earliest immigrants into the land. These people, who have come to be known as Ubadians." The Sumerians are a mysterious group of people. The mysterious language they spoke has had many scholars wondering where the Sumerians came from. And since linguistics can't be used to trace the origins of the Sumerians, there has to be another way. According to the National Institute of General Medical Sciences, genetics is the scientific study of genes and heredity, of how certain qualities or traits are passed from parents to offspring as a result of changes in DNA sequence. According to 23andMe, haplogroup is the term scientists use to describe a group of mitochondrial or Y chromosome sequences that are more closely related to one another than to other sequences. The term haplogroup is a combination of haplotype and group. In this context, haplotype refers either to the DNA sequence of one's mitochondrial DNA, which is inherited from one's mother, or to the DNA sequences of one's Y chromosome, which is passed from fathers to their sons. Your haplogroup is a clue to your maternal or paternal ancestry. Humans migrated from Eastern Africa to inhabit every continent on Earth except Antarctica over tens of thousands of years. The haplogroup reports show the migration patterns of people within a given haplogroup. Before the age of European exploration 500 years ago, people rarely moved between continents, so the report shows where people with a particular haplogroup lived for thousands of years. So when I read your haplogroup is a clue to your maternal or paternal ancestry, I wondered at that time if this applied to the Sumerians. So I did what I do best and I Googled it, and this is what I found so far. The oldest extant human maternal lineages include mitochondrial haplogroups L0D and L0K, found in the Southern African click-speaking forager peoples broadly classified as Coetian. Profiling these early mitochondrial lineages allows for better understanding of modern human evolution. Before I continue, I want to make sure I make this clear. There have been many migrations out of Africa. I've learned that the Homo erectus may have been the first human species to migrate out of Africa, possibly 1.75 million years ago. And that's with evidence of remains being found in southern Eurasia. But haplogroup L3 has been linked with the out of Africa migration of modern humans, which goes back possibly 50 to 70,000 years ago. The migration originated in East Africa and extended to West Asia and then to the rest of the world. I highly recommend reading this article from 2018 called Carriers of Mitochondrial DNA Macrohaplogroup L3 Basal Lineages Migrated Back to Africa from Asia around 70,000 years ago. When I go to Google and type in what the Iraqi people's haplogroups are, I tend to find haplogroup J along with others like R1b and E1b1b. Why did I Google the Iraqi people's haplogroup? Because Sumer is now southern Iraq. As a matter of fact, when I first went to www.eupedia.com and researched haplogroup J, I learned that haplogroup E1b1b is the prime candidate for the origin and dispersal of Afro-Asiatic languages across northern and eastern Africa and Southwest Asia. The Semitic languages appear to have originated within a subclade of the N34 branch of E1b1b. Researching haplogroup E1b1b, I find that haplogroup E1b1b, formerly known as E3b, represents the last major direct migration from Africa into Europe. It is believed to have first appeared in the Horn of Africa approximately 26,000 years ago and dispersed to North Africa and the Near East during the late Paleolithic and Mesolithic periods. According to a journal article that I read called Population Genetic Diversity in an Iraqi Population and Gene Flow Across the Arabian Peninsula, published in 2020, says the migration models demonstrated that gene flow to Iraq began from East Africa, with the Levantine corridor the most probable passageway out of Africa. The data presented here will enrich our understanding of genetic diversity in the region and introduce a PowerPlex Y23 database to the forensic community. I always say I share what I've learned, and this is what I've learned because of my curiosity in knowing the origins of where the Sumerians came from. And I realized that haplogroups could help me understand better how groups of people came to be and where they chose to call home. Until next time, knowledge is power.